Good afternoon, financial professionals. Abby Fletcher here of E4 Insurance Services, welcoming you to the BREW, Building Relationships Every Week. Thanks for tuning in today. For those of you joining for the first time, welcome and happy Long-Term Care Awareness Month. We like to start the BREWcast by celebrating today's National Day for November 17th. Today is National Baklava Day. This complex dessert is made of layered phyllo pastry and chopped nuts and honey. Many believe baklava originated from the Turkish people in Central Asian nations. However, many countries have their own version of this decadent dessert. The word baklava first appeared in the English language in 1650. Today, give baklava a try and perhaps bring it to your Thanksgiving feast next week. Today on the BREW, as part of our E4 exclusive series, we have E4's very own John Florence, who serves as Senior Vice President of Annuities. It is with great pride that I share that John is also our resident author, having penned one of many books, the first being released titled The Biggest Paycheck. You'll be hearing more fanfare on this in the days and months ahead. Today, John will be sharing more on the growing popularity of fixed index annuities, specifically their enhanced death benefits. Today, advisors are utilizing FIAs when seeking guaranteed legacy, and John will share more how to best use this strategy. Take a look at the chat box below. I'll be keeping a lookout while John is live for your comments and questions. Also, all attendees are in a drawing for a prize, and we'll be announcing the winner shortly. Thanks for tuning in, and without further ado, John, welcome. The mic is yours.
Thank you very much, Abby, and National Baklava Day. I'm not sure I've ever eaten baklava. It's Greek to me, even though you said it originated in Turkey. All right, so hello everybody and welcome to the BREW. And if you've been a regular attendee of these sessions, you might have seen me once or twice before talking on various different subjects. My area of specialty within E4 is annuities. And today I'm going to share a little bit around a feature of an annuity that I think a lot of people may not be aware of. So we're going to be talking specifically today about fixed indexed annuities. And you may or may not know about these kinds of products, but they're gaining in popularity. They've been around since about 1984, I think. A couple of the common uses that you see for them is protected growth strategies, where clients are interested in protecting principal, but getting interest credit based on market types of performance. So the principal gets linked to an index or two allocated there, and then as those indexes perform, interest is credited accordingly to the contract. We also see them very commonly used as bond or cash alternatives, and more frequently these days as lifetime income vehicles as well. A number of carriers that now are issuing indexed annuities with lifetime guaranteed withdrawal benefits that are a really interesting solution for those clients that are moving into or through retirement looking for supplemental guaranteed income. But today we're going to focus really on the idea of an indexed annuity as a legacy for certain clients or via an enhanced death benefit. And in order to do that, I want to illustrate a case specifically that came across my desk about a month ago. And we thought it was pretty interesting. We kind of all within E4 looked at it closely and thought this would be an interesting share with the broader audience of advisors that we talk with. So I'd like you to meet Carlos. Carlos is a resident here in Wisconsin. He's a 75-year-old male. He came to his advisor with $1 million non-qualified variable annuity. That when he bought it, he had put $400,000 into it, and that's the cost basis. And over the years that he's owned it, it's been averaging about a 6% net of fees return, which in the variable annuity world isn't terrible, not the greatest, but not the worst either. The challenge is that this particular annuity and the way that he has it structured, it has a lifetime withdrawal benefit that he really doesn't need. And he's experiencing about $36,000 in annual fees off of that contract. The other challenge for him really is that the annuity itself has only a guarantee or return of principal death benefit, which means that at $1 million of account value, he's got about 600,000 of death benefit potentially at risk tied to whatever is happening in the market. So Carlos is pretty savvy and he's pretty well tuned with what's going on. And he's a little bit concerned about where we are now, 12 plus years into this current big rally that we've all been experiencing. And he's worried that this account could lose money. And so somebody told him along the way that he could do a 1035 exchange to some kind of a legacy plan. And that's what he told the advisor when he came in to meet with the advisor. So here's my little question to you. And if you looked at this case, my question would be, if Carlos is looking for a legacy, which life insurance contract should we exchange this annuity to? And I'll let you ponder that for a second before putting up what should be the obvious, that's really a trick question because it's in a variable annuity already. We couldn't do a 1035 exchange to any kind of a life insurance contract. Even if Carlos were insurable, even if he wanted more life insurance than he already has, we can't do that kind of exchange because we can't 1035 from an annuity to life. Now, this is something that I come across with pretty regularly with financial advisors that I work with, is sort of trying to remember which way you can exchange and do 1035 exchanges. I found a really easy way to remember this is to remember my friend Leah. Leah stands for life, endowment, and annuity. So the only way that you can do a 1035 exchange is up the chain of letters. You can go from life to life, or you can go from life to endowment, or you can go from life to annuity, or you can go from endowment to annuity, or you can go from annuity to annuity, but you can't go the other way around. So because he's already in a non-qualified deferred annuity, the only exchange he would be able to make rather than surrendering the contract would be to another annuity contract and have that be a non-taxable event. So keep that in mind. Remember Leah when you're thinking about doing exchanges. But let's look a little bit deeper into what his options would be on annuities given his market fears and his concerns. So we looked into indexed annuities, fixed index annuities that happen to have some form of enhanced death benefit features and using $1 million premium. So in Carlos's case, and because of his age, we were able to come up with 5 different carriers: Global Atlantic, Great American, North American, Allianz, and American Equity. And each of these annuities has a death benefit feature that works a little bit differently from each of the other ones. For example, the Global Atlantic Enhanced Death Benefit has a 7% guaranteed simple roll-up that runs for 15 years. That sounds pretty attractive until you look at the Great American Legend 7 with inheritance enhancer that has 9% simple, although only for 10 years. The North American Benefit Solutions is intriguing because it provides a 20% bonus on the premium in day 1, and then it increases that every 5 years for the first 10 years of the contract. So a client could get a guaranteed enhancement of as much as 60% for North American. The Allianz Benefit Control and the American Equity Estate Shield 10 are also intriguing because they both offer really good size bonuses up front, but then they drive the death benefit value by the performance of the index. So we can look at it both in terms of a guaranteed death benefit on each of these 5, and we'll also look at some performance-oriented options in just a minute. So if we looked at those, off the top of your head, which do you think would be the right contract to use for Carlos? And the question is, well, there's more things to consider. What is the maximum issue age on the contract? Are there any fees associated with those benefits? As you can see here, for the first 3, there are explicit fees, and on the Allianz and the American Equity, there is no explicit fee, although there may be things such as asset allocation charges that are kind of hidden inside of there. In none of these cases does the death benefit require any performance in order to get an increase to the dollar amount that he puts in the contract. So here's what I did is I ran these numbers out using Carlos's $1 million, and I said, let's take a look at it over 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, and 15 years, and try and gauge which of these contracts might have been the better option to provide a death benefit for Carlos's beneficiaries. And if you look at it in the first year, the North American and the American equity contracts seem to do the best because they had a nice big fat bonus on the front end of it. But within 5 and 10 years, the Great American really starts pulling ahead. You can see that in year 5, if Carlos had passed away at that point, there would have been 1.4, a little over 1.4 million in the contract. If he waited to year 10, he about 1.9. And then you can see that if he lived to age 90, because he's 75 now, we add 15 years onto it, that the Global Atlantic would really have been a great choice for him, because that would be a guaranteed $2 million plus to the beneficiaries at the end of Carlos's life without any requirement for market performance. So in a simple looking at it this way, we can look at just simply the functioning of how the death benefit works and try and extrapolate that out to Carlos's expected lifetime and come up with maybe a decision that would make sense for him. But then we can also look at it in the sense that some of these contracts have performance-oriented features to them, such as the benefit control and the Estate Shield 10. Now, if you look at the Allianz product, and in addition to the 18% bonus, they also have a 250% credit to that death benefit for every year that there is index performance on there. The American equity product has a 150% bonus. And if you look at the historic performance in the last 10 years of, and I just picked one of their, I think their S&P 500 index and averaged it out over 10 years, given their caps, you can see that the Allianz benefit control, based on the performance of the underlying index, if he was willing to take a little bit of that risk, would actually have kicked out a pretty substantial benefit in terms of the accumulation of that benefit over the course of his life expectancy. And in almost every situation, year 1, 5, 10, 15 would have been the best option in terms of total dollars listed as a death benefit. Now, if that were the only decision, then again, it would seem like pretty easy to make a choice between one or two of these. But you have to take it a step further, because the way that these death benefits pay out is ultimately what's going to determine the success of this plan for the client. Now, each of these contracts and the enhanced death benefits has a different way in which it can be accessed by the beneficiaries. In some cases, it's only a lump sum distribution at the death of the owner. In some cases, it's a 5-year, and in some cases, it's a lifetime or a lifetime stretch based on the expectancy of the beneficiary. Some of them have a couple of options, but you need to look closely at that, particularly in light of this specific case. Remember, I said earlier that Carlos had originally invested $400,000. So it's in a deferred annuity with $600,000 of deferred gain. If we get any of these guaranteed benefits, for example, the Global Atlantic pushing it up to $2 million, that means that because it's only a lump sum distribution, that Carlos's beneficiaries would be forced to take a 1099 for $1.6 million at the time that Carlos dies. Probably not the best alternative for those people at that point in Carlos's life. So we could then look at other alternatives that would perhaps allow a lifetime stretch, in which case maybe the great American Legend 7 with inheritance enhancer comes to the forefront, because even though it's a lower amount than the $2 million guaranteed, we have the ability to stretch that benefit out over the beneficiary's lifetime. And in any case, if Carlos is willing to take that index risk for the growth, it looks again that the Allianz benefit control provides not only the higher dollar amount, but the flexibility in terms of how the clients are able to access that death benefit at the time of Carlos's death, with the exception of the fact that there is no lump sum available for the Allianz benefit control. So hopefully what you can see through this chart here is that it's not as easy of a question that it might seem at first. And so I would encourage you that as you are looking at estate cases, particularly as they regard annuities and highly deferred and highly appreciated annuities that many clients have, that you give us a crack at helping you to craft that case, because of the complexities that are involved in all the various moving bits and pieces that can really impact the outcome of a case such as this one. So in review, really briefly, just bear in mind that fixed indexed annuities are a great solution for your clients that include benefits such as the ability to protect their principal from market losses. In many cases, there are no fees to the indexed annuities whatsoever, or if there are fees, the fees are small relative to other kinds of annuity products. There are platforms that offer growth potential, lifetime income if the client requires it, and more frequently, like we're seeing today, legacy benefits, such as we've seen in this handful of products that we showcase today. Bear in mind that not all enhanced death benefits are the same. Make sure you're reading the fine print on those contracts and understand not only how they accrue during the client's lifetime, but how they pay out after the client passes away, because those two things in combined will determine the success of the plan. Make sure that you're assessing your client's expected longevity as you're making these considerations, because the enhancements last for different periods of time. And so if the client is expected to have a shorter life expectancy, some contracts may not be as attractive as others. And just beware of hidden fees as well. Unlike some annuity products out there, it's easy to see, to present an indexed annuity solution and not be able to see all of the fees that are built into the product as well. So again, reach out to us and we can help explain some of those nuances on specific cases that you're working with. So again, I would just ask you, as you come across these, and there are many, many clients who have old deferred annuities that are looking for good solutions, like Carlos was, please reach out to us. We have a whole group of annuity experts here at E4 that are happy to sit down and put our collective minds to the benefit of working on your cases. And with that, I will end the presentation and open it up for any questions. And thank you once again for taking the time to be with us today. Abby, back to you.
Thanks, John. Great share. And thanks for using Carlos as a case study. I've opened up the lines for questions. And while we await questions, John, I'm going back to a conversation you and I have had before. You had run an exercise of the current income annuities that are out there right now.
I'm sorry, what was the question about the current income annuities?
You had run an exercise, and I don't know if it was specific to the state of Wisconsin or the United States, that you had shown how many income annuities exist today that are not being used for the income benefits. Was that what it was?
Oh my gosh, yeah. Well, I mean, it's a little bit anecdotal, but we come across cases just about every day where clients have entered into an annuity contract years ago with the intention of potentially using it for lifetime income, but they don't need the income, or that their financial objectives have changed from when they first bought that. So we're running across those all of the time. And I would honestly put that figure somewhere in the billions of dollars in just the state of Wisconsin alone, of contracts that are out there that people are holding but not using the benefits that they are paying for. So if you have those situations for your clients, take a look at those, forward information over to us. We have some really unique tools at E4 that we've designed in-house, particularly our annuity inspection tool, that allows us to break that down, take a look at all of the details and the particulars of any given contract, and be able to present some alternatives that may better suit or meet the client's objectives, as opposed to the current annuity that they might be holding. So, but yeah, the opportunity for looking into this is enormous here in Wisconsin, and I would insist in just about every state in the union. And if you're an advisor with any time or length in running a practice, you probably have a significant chunk of your book of business that's in these types of annuities that probably could be due for a review as well. And we can certainly help you with that. So, but thanks for asking.
Yep. Thanks for adding it on. I'm not seeing any questions from the audience in the chat box. How about we go right to the drawing, John? I'm going to have you choose a number between 1 and 19.
Okay, I will go with 13 because that was my birthday.
Number 13. Who's the winner? Who's the winner? Alex Gonzalez. Congratulations, sir. Be on the lookout for a coffee card and some free CE coming your way from all of us here at E4. Thanks for dialing in. And no brew next week, friends. We're going to be chock full of turkey, being grateful and thankful. And you better believe it that all of you esteemed advisors are on our gratitude list. But we'll be back Wednesday, December 1st, and we'll see you then. Thanks for tuning in, and happy Thanksgiving.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.